Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Buddhist Recovery Network Academy. I'm Robin Smith, joining you from New Orleans, Louisiana. And it's really good to have you all here. Thanks for being part of our recovery community, in our Sangha today. We're going to have a teaching offered by Ralph Steele. So the title of the talk is Embodying Emotions with Somatic Meditation. All of our teachings are given freely, and as part of the Buddhist Recovery Network, which is a volunteer community, we do encourage the offering of dana, and the dana goes to support the teacher, and it goes to support the Buddhist Recovery Network and keeping these academy teachings happening. And I will drop a URL into the chat box, but I will offer it again at the end of the talk. So it's www.buddhistrecovery.org/donate. And I would like to give an introduction for Ralph. Pardon me. Some days my words kind of trip. Ralph Steele has taught meditation since 1987. He's completed a year of intensive practice as a Theravada monk in Myanmar and Thailand. In 2000, he completed a 4-year teacher training with Jack Kornfield. He was born on Pawleys Island, South Carolina, and began his meditation practice while in high school in Japan. He studied with Tibetan masters Venerable Kalu Rinpoche and Lobsang Lhalungpa, and worked with the Honorable Dalai Lama's meditation team at the San Francisco Conference of Nobel laureates. Ralph is a Vietnam vet and spearheaded the establishment of the annual retreats for people of color at Spirit Rock Meditation Center and Insight Meditation Society. He's the guiding teacher of Life Transition Meditation Center and director of Life Transition Therapy, Inc., which is a clinic offering meditation-based treatment for trauma in Santa Fe. He's also the author of Tending the Fire, The Path of War and Meditation. So a big welcome to you, Ralph.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Greetings. We don't have much time together, but just as precious, time itself, just being in the body. So, you invited to, before I give these instructions, I'm going to give these other instructions. If you have any kind of cardiovascular disorder, disease, any kind, the slightest, I just want you to breathe in long in breath and long out breath. It won't detour you from this practice, but it will help you, and your body will love you much more. Okay. The rest of you, I want you to begin to breathe in and out of your nostril if you are invited to. Some of you like to do your own thing and just stubborn. Okay, I used to be there. But you're invited to breathe in and out of your nostrils as fast as you can, right now. Quickly, please. As you're doing that, it's like going for a jog, going for a run, or working out in the gym. you are letting your physiology know that you're getting ready to do something, which is practice. It's what we love to do. Also, as you're doing that, the body basically feeds off of 3 primary nutrition, and there's a pecking order. Number 1 is the breath or oxygen. Number 2 is water. And number 3 is food. And we tend to give the most attention to number 3, food, and the least to number 1, oxygen. We are all interconnected on so many various levels, and a lot of you know that, from the physical to the subtle. But it's important that you don't think that. It's important that you experience it. And so I'm going to take to you away and begin to bring in the we, because we are in this together. And so if you want to continue being just me or you, individual, then that's your choice. You just don't get to be on this boat or this train or this airplane. As you continue to breathe like this, soften the back of your neck and your shoulders. Take your time. Your attention is right inside your nostril. And sometimes what helps, because our sense of self, it likes to be satisfied. It's always curious. It's just amazing how so much air comes in through our nostril and exit so swiftly. It's so powerful. Science continue to confirm and discover how amazing, just absolutely mind-boggling amazing the body is. In bringing this into Buddhist psychology, we begin to understand how precious human existence is. And a lot of us have to understand that firsthand because of this storm that's been going on since approximately the beginning of the year. Find your rhythm. Now, in that rhythm, find your edge. Don't go over the edge. And don't back off. Various thoughts may come up, or have already came up. Oh, I'm hyperventilating. Oh, am I doing this right? This is not about right or wrong. This is about challenging death. We don't want death to win. We just want to give it our body, but we're going to be already awakened, gone. The Lord of Death don't like that. So don't let fear comes in. Step up to the plate as you breathe. You can change your rhythm if you notice you're being distracted by thoughts or other mental and physical sensation. A lot of you are settling in now, which is good. The body is all warmed up. The physiology, in other words, the muscular system, the intelligence of it. Keep your task in mind. We have about 60 seconds or less left, and instruction will change. So push yourself now. That's right. See if you can go over the edge, but with control, with mindfulness, with diligence. Keeping the body soft. You notice how difficult it is to do that. 30 seconds. It takes time. It takes practice, more practice, and with a lot of fun and joy. 15. Now I want you to stop and take in a long in breath through your nostril and out through your nostril. Quite fast. Again. And out. Once more time. And hold that breath. As you hold the breath, soften the muscular system in your body. Just keep softening the muscular system in your back, your chest. When you decide you want to exhale, put your awareness down to your sacrum. And as you exhale, go up your spine with your awareness out through the top of your head. Now you too begin to breathe in some long in breath and long out breath, but gently, ever so softly, as if you're carrying an infant child. You take both hands and put it on your chest. Both hands, put it on your chest. Feel what that feels like. The caring, bring that kind of attention to your body, to our bodies. Go beyond love, where it's so powerful that we're giving what we are giving to our body right now, the kind of nurturing. There's no words for it, just the experience. Knowing that we're loving ourselves right now, or this quality of attentiveness. And keeping your left hand on your chest, and put your right hand on your body. On your thighs. Palms up. And you can have it facing out like this, if you choose. Understanding and having the intent of just making the connection with everyone that's here. Now taking both hands, taking the other hand off your chest and clasp them together, keeping that intention of not only the connection with our community, but most important, with our body. Notice how it is, how it feels, how it is compared to when we first began. And just let it teach you. Pay attention with your own practice, but pay attention to the body. Don't worry about the mental and stories and images. It will settle down as you are noticing, and it will continue if you just allow it to be. Allowing our awareness to continue to embrace our most precious, precious, precious body, allowing it to embrace our community, allowing it to embrace our own lineage, our own ancestral lineage, our grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-great-great-grandparents. Yes. And just trusting to adjust, to allow what can be called pure awareness, Buddha nature. Try your best to keep your task in mind. We are trying our best to cultivate and be a model for all at this very moment. Yes, you will be distracted by your sense of self, but just keep your task in mind. And understand, the more you do that, the more you'll understand the illusory nature of life. The illusion nature of life. And learning how to just rest in illusion. I was going to ring a bell to bring this meditation to an end, but I don't want to do that because I want you to get it that it doesn't end. There's no beginning and there's no end with regards to practice and with regards to life. So I'm going to just start making some words here. It's amazing. It's such a wonderful, so wonderful to be with you. Why so wonderful? Because this is Buddhist Recovery Network. So I'm assuming that you're an ex-addict or you're still an addict. Okay, there's no such thing as ex-addict, excuse me. Ex maybe from what you was taking. I used to be a heroin addict and smoke 5 packs a day, and I probably still would be doing that. But I found something, or I tapped into something that's much more livelier, and the experience has more depth, and that's the Dhamma. So this is my new addiction. So it's good to be with you, because we all know what we really love. I remember being in a retreat, and this was about maybe 45 years back, something. I'm 70 years old. And we had a break for lunch, maybe 7-10 day retreat, I can't remember. But anyway, I said, I don't want lunch. Not that I didn't want lunch, I didn't want to leave the space that I was in, the samadhi, what I've cultivated all morning, the last few days. Then finally I opened my eyes, and I noticed it was about 15 to 25 other people. And we just happened to be together, no more than arm reach from each other, males and females, practicing. And we just kept doing that. I noticed that as the days went on. And at the end of the retreat, not all of us, but some of us, got to communicate with them. And what was the common denominator? We were all ex-heroin addicts. It was amazing. And the love for the practice. So you love the practice. All right. We love the practice. As the Buddha said, is there Ralph? He didn't respond. Is there no Ralph? He didn't respond. And so what he said there's form, there's feelings, there's perception, there's identification, and consciousness. That's how this system works. Ralph said, well, what do you mean? And his science, because of technology, has proven, well, form, that's the body mostly. And it has the basic elements, fire, earth, wind, and water, these 4 great elements. And like he said, not even me, there's nobody above the great elements. Nobody. And so we are getting to see Buddha nature work firsthand. I mean, we can point fingers, oh, this dude started it, or this country started it with regards to the COVID. Oh, I started over there. Who cares where it started? Oh, this person's responsible. Yeah, really. So we get to see human beings act out right in front of us on the individual level, community level, country level. We get to see it work. Nobody is above the great elements. And we know this from being still, the form, taking this form, and we being still, being quarantined, whatever language you want to call it. But to me, it's being still. My other friends who are monastic, males and females, well, we're having a good time. This is no big deal. But as a result of being still, people realize, oh, in Italy, God, there's dolphins, there's fish, there's birds in different countries coming around, coming into the cities, animals. Oh, wow, the air is cleaner. Holy cow. Did we do all of that? That's amazing. Fun. Moving around, thinking too much, or being in delusion, delusional awareness, which is a big deal. It takes a lot of work to practice. It doesn't matter who you are, and this is from His Holiness on down. You see him. He's practicing. He's practicing. It's not easy to pay attention. It's a full-time job. And the body, oh, trauma. You know, science have discovered, yeah. That's not even going to past life. This started right in the room. It's like this is part of the ticket to be on this plane of existence. We begin to protect ourselves and our environment because it's pretty much impossible for any mom to carry their newborn for 9 months and not be stressed and have any kind of sudden disruption in their life. And so we react. Of course, psychology just referenced that reaction. Oh yeah, that's the reptilian brain. It's the first brain that's developed in the womb. And it's the only brain that is fully developed in the womb. But we just reference it. Oh, that's the fight or flight brain. Oh, okay. That brain is 100% non-linear. And it's over 1 million years old, way over 1 million. Millions, put some S on that. So it knows how to protect. And so our flow began to be disturbed, energetic flow began to be disturbed before in the body because we make certain positions in the room to be protected, to protect ourselves. Not understanding this, you know, it changes our character. We come up in life and we do certain things. We're not talking about good or bad or right or wrong. We just do certain things to survive. And we've been doing that since human existence. Just that as human beings become more towards 2020, different kinds of rules and regulations begin to change. But we do what we need to do to survive. To survive internally, not externally. Because that's the biggest war. It's huge, people. The body, and we get stuck with storylines, incidents may have happened once or 10 or 20 times, but it doesn't even come close to the millions of times we carry within ourselves. So it's horrendous. It's horrendous. And not even knowing that we're causing damage. More damage and more damage. And so it's wonderful with regards to science that they're understanding and they're proving, and there are many books out there. The body bears the burden. It's all there. And so, here's the body. And we all took basic science, even though some of you may have dropped out of high school, got a GED, but still there's just basic science is because we have an eyeball. I have one, some of you have two, but still we have vision, and it might be some of you don't have an eyeball. Okay? In other words, blind. From your eyeball perspective, because that's a whole nother line. I know you're not blind. Okay? You have other eyes. Anyway, the objects, the energetic objects hits that eyeball, and the cornea in the back is like a little crystal. From the energetics, it creates an image, and the image is upside down. And because of learning, conditioning, years of conditioning, of human conditioning, the occipital brain in the back, we turn it what we call right side up. And there's an object, and that object has a name, and we make that name up. Just like somebody made a name up, some of us before we came out and after we came out. Some of us still, we change our names, still made up. Some of us get blessings, and we get another name, but it's still made up. So everything is made up. And everything is not what you really think it is, what you perceive. This is why in magic, the hand is quicker than the eye. So it is an illusion, but it's learning how to rest in this illusion. And we have found drugs to help us rest, but the side effects was unhealthy, the damaging and so forth. So we are here. And welcome. Because the feelings, form, feeling, the feeling didn't feel good. After a certain period of time, those other four here that I'm going into is all on the mental plane. And I'm just going to briefly touch on it because I want to make sure you understand this. I'm going to open it up for some questions. We didn't like the feelings, and the feelings was the ancestors, going back to the Buddha, was good enough to group these feelings into three basic categories. Comfortable feelings, it's another word for pleasurable, delightful. Neutral feelings, like the clothing on our body. And uncomfortable feelings. And then, of course, the extreme of that is painful, correct? Yeah. So we didn't like the feelings. So we're here. Welcome. Again. Then there's perception. We're talking about our memories and so forth. Remember, we all used to be kids running around, no clothes on, having a good time, laughing. Then all of a sudden things begin to happen. Oh man, things begin to happen. You can't do that. You're supposed to do it this way. Start laying belief system. rules and regulation. You're a girl, you're a boy. Oh, you're white, you're black. Are you supposed to be, oh, on and on and on. You're Chinese, no, you're Japanese. What is going on? All these things is all made up. And it's a reason. We're all in different physical body, but there's this other body that's, we're all united. We just experienced that. We are experiencing it right now as we're speaking. So we have so many different kinds of memories. But even our memories all blend together at some point. And we experience that. It all depends on how much you want to practice. Because all the great one, the public, yeah, I'll say it that way, the public great one, from Gandhi, Martin Luther King, well, yeah, the Buddha in there too, Jesus Christ in there too, all the great, the public great one. It's all, they all confirmed, yeah, it's all one, yeah. So our memory, there's our memory, goes what we call perception. Then identification, and that's an interesting point, especially we as old druggies identifying something, because what we're doing, we're bringing in the mental plane and the physical plane to make an identification. The mental plane, what we think we know what it is, try to put a name on it. And there's the physical that arises, and it all comes together. Remember now, science has confirmed inwardly awareness is faster than the speed of light. Faster than the speed of light, people. Yeah. Identification. And of course, identification breaks up. And with regards to, and we have all experienced that, it can be broken up with various drugs, various traumatic stuff that happens to us, various kinds of sensation, memory, on and on and on. It can cause fragmentation in the body, and how we are holding and so forth, and how we respond to the intensity of our own life experience from moment to moment. I can go on in this area, but like I said, I just want to touch on it. And so that identification creates consciousness. And this level of consciousness is ours, beyond that. In other words, that which knows. Yeah. So, with that said, now you can see how we perpetuate. Ooh, let's go into the sense of unworthiness, or let's just mention it. How did that happen? We created the sense of sadness, all of it. What about the sense of, oh, what's a good person? The sense of greatness. I met him when his name was, no, let's not even use his name. Muhammad Ali. Before he was there, I saw him boxing in Japan. Even before he received that name. What he kept saying, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest. He went to the other side. You know, forget about that. And here's a black man, I'm the greatest. You know, it really didn't matter, but just want to point that out to you because you all knew of that human being and how he lived his life and what he did, but how he carried himself, his sense of character. That doesn't mean he didn't have downfalls and so forth, but he wore a crown. It's the reason why back in the Romans and the Greeks, where there was so many gods, many families named their kids after gods. Name us after gods, various kinds of gods. Here in modern time, 2020, even on back, modern time. There's a reason why in the Vedic culture or Hindu culture, there's so many gods. And people still naming their kids after various kinds of gods. Shiva, Ram, on. So a crown, it makes a difference. So here we are doing this practice. You're Buddha nature, you're Buddha? Well, yeah, we're. Nobody knows what you're doing but you. If you pay attention to what you're doing, then you know what you're doing. So form, feeling, perception, identification, consciousness. It's a personal decision. You know, it's to model being a human being. Just looked at the phone here and see what time it is. To model being a human being. I remember doing some work at San Quentin, a prison in the USA, maximum security. And I was in this room, church, for just over 2 hours. And I began to have doubts. Wow, is anybody going to come in here? Then all of a sudden, these men started coming in. Wow. And tears started rolling down my eyes. Because I haven't seen a group of human beings like that since I was in Burma, Myanmar now. Amazing human being. Now, how did they get to be like that? Quarantine. And they decided, they made a decision to step up to the plate, to begin to do some work. Yeah. We had a good time. I just thanked them. Boy, did we have a good time. What an experience. Oh my God. It's amazing. So I hope you step up to the plate. You know, it's from another viewpoint, a deep bow to the generation behind me. Wow. And the one behind them, because you're the one that's out in the streets. I've been there. You all make incredible changes now, globally. You're not messing around. Yeah, you've stepped up. You stepped up to the plate out there. You don't like what's wrong, so you're doing something about it. Oh man, yes, I'm on your team. Now I'm asking you to step up to the plate in here. You know, it's Buddhist psychology. I mean, the whole practice is about practice. And to be yourself, Learn who you are. The only way you're going to learn that is to pay attention to you. Final piece. After I became a monastic, the other monks, all Burmans, they thought I was from India. They thought I was from Bangladesh. And when they find out, you from America? Really? You from America? Oh man, come on in here. We're gonna have to teach you, man. Why you let them people treat you like that? Come on in here. Yeah. So it's the same thing I'm doing with you. Come on. the precious teachings. Yeah, you got me. So practice. You know where my website is and all that kind of stuff. So let's open it up for some questions these last few minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, if folks have questions, we have a couple of options. You can either put them into chat or you can raise your hand and actually ask them live. And I don't know, in Zoom, if you click on the participants icon at the bottom of the screen, there is an option, there's a little icon that says raise your hand, but I can also kind of scroll here and see visually if folks are raising their hands. And I also, I know sometimes it takes a little period of warm up before questions arise, but I have a question for you, Ralph. If we could kick it off with a question from me, if that's all right. I wonder how important it is to delve into this bodily memory that, you know, somatics is about, really working with the memory muscle. And sometimes these are things that we may want to forget. But how important is that to address or release the trauma that may be inhibiting our full recovery?
Good question. One thing, first, we all have our consciousness. Just see that. And see your consciousness as a forest, your forest or our forest. Now, science has confirmed that people have always known, you've heard me say, there's memory that's stored in the body. It doesn't matter. Memory, period, is there. Okay? Good ones and bad ones is there. It's not going anywhere. And one of the things, I founded the first educational hospice in this country. And people used to get a associate degree, now they get a bachelor's. But anyway, not working on it, a lot of people have died in my hands way back in the 80s. And stuff comes up. It all comes up. Okay, your forest, our forest, it comes up. Now, there's that piece. In other words, like a tree that falls in the forest. There's nobody going to come and take it out the forest. You go to various kinds of therapists, I don't care who you, blah, 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 yoga, blah, blah, on and on and on. What happens is the correct way is that tree that fell down is you're cultivating the rest of your forest so it can continue to grow, and that tree begins to decay. And because as that tree decay, your response to the situation, the mental, the unpleasant situation, the smell, how you used to really become activated, you don't react anymore to those kinds of emotions. You just respond to it. That's what happened to me as a Vietnam vet. 18, 19 in Vietnam, still came back and wasn't old enough to go in the bar to get a drink. And so it's just a lot of stuff. So how do you decide how far to go into it or even to go into memory? Well, first, number one, you need to trust whoever that human being is and what that person have to say with regards to dealing with memory or traumatic situation. You need to listen carefully because, like I just said, there's no place for it to go. And remember, that's why I talked about illusion. However, we can learn how to live with it and live a very pleasant life. Look what we just experienced. Right? This is just an example with regards to the meditation practice of embodying, being in the body. And you bring up an experience, oh, wow, you know, how you would react to something negatively, emotionally, really charged in this space you're in presently, right now, your response is different. Okay? It didn't go anywhere. It's just that we are becoming more aligned in our body. That's why using the word embodiment and letting it teach us. We're just a grain of sand on the beach. But if you crack open a grain of sand under a high power microscope, there's a speck of salt water. And so the practice is teaching us how to plug into the ocean. And yes, because we have a neocortex, we can manipulate. I mean, just look around your room, and we have created awesome things on this planet so far. However, it's not real. It's only real for a working perspective for the physical body, but it's not really real. We can't take it with us, which is another important piece. And the final piece here, going into memory, is not to dissolve the memory, is learning how can I learn to live with this? How can I, it's like using your practice, the space you're presently in, and you want to cultivate that where you are right now as you go through the rest of your day or evening. Cultivate, you don't want to lose it as you're sleeping, as you're walking, as you're talking, making life a meditation. For you who are beginners, yes, you have a certain time oriented with regards to practice. Okay, I need to go and do my practice. Maybe 15 minutes, 30, it doesn't matter how much time, but as you put in the hours, and even all the professionals, and this is even in the monastic world, 10,000 hours. You actually change when you get over 2,500, and you definitely change after 5,000. But this is about practice. And you know, if you decide to do something, you're going to do it. Remember, we're ex-addicts. When you decide to do something, you decided to be an addict and you enjoyed it. You know, there's a part of you that really enjoyed it. So you can be disciplined when you want to be disciplined. And so this path is about practice. And the sensation that you have right now, you can use that as a guiding post with regards to knowing when you're on the path and when you're not on the path. And that's what I call keeping the body full, bringing the two bodies together, the physical and the subtle. It's so important. What a good question. I can give it some more attention, but thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a question from Joanna. How do you encourage others to step up to the plate, as you say? I've worked with a lot of people who have suffered. I've worked with people who have suffered or survived a lot of heavy trauma, and I encounter so much resistance to mindfulness practice. But when they do open up and give it a try, the effects are so profound and healing. For lack of better words, how do we invite or lure, turn people on to the invitation to explore and delve into consciousness and sort of owning the responsibility that is ours, as you mentioned?
Excellent. Thank you. Good. Well, first thing, you only can teach what you know. And I just gave a talk last month with regards to mindfulness. Don't get me wrong now. John Kabat-Zinn, Johnny is a dear friend, dear friend. I'm actually in his book, Full Catastrophe Living. Don't want to go that way, but I'm waiting for society to put out someone to create a mindfulness hamburger, because there's so many different kinds. Mindfulness this, mindfulness that. And so what I'm saying is that you need to understand, you personally need to understand what mindfulness is. Okay? So you can begin to share, because you can only teach what you know. Mindfulness is big, people. Before I change gears, Mingyur, he's a Burmese monk, master, and at the last Theravada Buddhist conference that was in Yangon in 52, 53, someone posed the questions in the area of mindfulness, and he began talking. And when he got through responding to the question, 4 days later, this is 24/7, which he repeated the entire Pali Canon. And so then everything about the Buddhist teaching is about mindfulness. So this is what I mean when I said, get some good, very good understanding of mindfulness. If you want, you can send me an email and I'll send you some books. The other is you have to walk your talk. And the world is traumatized. Suffering is huge. It's just unimaginable. I mean, how can you explain your mom dying and you can't even go in the hospital? I mean, how can your consciousness, or your son, or your daughter? So the suffering is just, has always been off the chart. However, because at least here in America, in other countries, a little different, but in the Western world, it's not in our face visibly as it is like in Iraq, other countries of that nature, Africa. But it's there, it's huge. So suffering always been huge. Okay? So when it impacts you, oh, what's happening here? This is where your practice comes in. So it's because it's great teachings. So what can I learn from this? So how Ralph is responding to your question is, it's all about you. When the flower is in bloom, it doesn't have to be in full bloom, but when the flower is in bloom, the bees come uninvited. And the more you go out, and even with the goodest heart, the goodest intention of wanting to help, and you haven't perceived with your inner voice if that person is really asking for help, or how is that person asking for help? What kind of language can I use to work with this person? On and on and on. All of that is going to come from your own practice. Without that, all you're going to be relying on is your own intellect. Of course, you have your heart, but the practice is not there. Enough, and enough, and enough, and enough, and enough, and enough. I'm only can share from my own personal experience. That's it. Yeah. And I deep bow to you for the work that you're doing out there. Please continue doing it and look at that work that you do. Everything you do What are you learning? How is it deepening your practice? When you can look from that perspective, then you begin to tweak you better. And the more you tweak you, make changes in your body, speech, and mind, the more you're going to shine, the more you're going to begin to bloom even more. And the more these will begin to come to you. It doesn't matter what culture you are, because you will learn how to speak their language.
Thank you, Ralph. Do we have any other questions?
It's a very good question.
I'm feeling a lot of gratitude for just having this intro, this beginning experience of somatic meditation. And yeah, we have someone asking when your next class is. And so if I could, well, I'd love for you to answer that, but I'm also going to, while you're answering that, I'm going to be putting some items in the chat, which are some ways to engage with Ralph's teaching. So should I go ahead and announce them, or do you want to talk about them, Ralph? I'm gonna put them one by one into the chat while you're okay. Okay, I was prepared to go into this, but I know that you have classes that I'm not going to talk about too. So the first way to engage with Ralph is on his website, and that's lifetransition.com. So he is offering a 7-week course coming up around in this very topic, embodying emotions with somatic meditation. And that's going to meet in weekly sessions of 2 hours each. And Ralph will guide small groups through these core principles of somatic meditation and helping participants understand how to use subtle energy techniques. So I'm going to input this into the chat, and it has the link. It has the website link. And sometimes when I'm the only one posting into chat, things will kind of run in. They'll kind of stack on top of each other. So I'm just going to do one at a time. The website is lifetransitions.com/classes-1.html. And that's for the benefit of the folks who will be listening in on podcast. The next item I wanted to, you'll be a teacher, a presenter at the UK Black History, a UK Black History Month event. And in October is Black History Month in the UK. The name of the event is Coming Home, Healing Ourselves. It's hosted by the Buddhist Across Traditions group, and it is on the 11th of October. And there is a link here. This is an Eventbrite event in case you want to go search for it on Eventbrite. You'll also be a special guest presenter at the Embodiment Conference, which, as I understand, is a very large event, an online event, and it's being held from the 14th to the 25th in October. And you can go to the embodimentconference.org for more information. And yeah, I think that's all the ones that I wanted to mention specifically, unless you'd like to mention another, Ralph.
No, I think you said it all. Is the best way, instead of throwing out dates and all that kind of stuff, is just get in touch with me. I usually respond very quickly between me and my board.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to invite folks to sit with this, felt sense of generosity, just recognize how it resonates and reciprocates and reverberates, and how it benefits yourself and others. And your generosity can help us strengthen our Buddhist Recovery Network. It can go to the support of the teachers. So if you'd like to give Donna, There is a link that I just input. It's the BuddhistRecovery.org-donate link. And you can go to that at any time, today, tomorrow, next week. And you indicate that it's for the Academy, and this will go to keep these teachings happening. On that note, next month we have a new teaching that will be offered by Caverly Morgan, and that's on October 4th, Sunday, October 4th at the same time. So really wanted to thank you for being here today. May the merit that we've gained benefit all beings, and may you be well and at ease. So have a sweet week ahead. I'm going to leave the room open for another 10 minutes or so you can copy whatever you want from the chat field, and send any questions you have about the Academy to academy@BuddhistRecovery.org. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ralph. Really, really enjoyed it.